Call this meeting of the Riverside Township Board of Trustees to order. Please rise, and Clerk Blau, would you please lead us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everyone. Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark,
Present.
Trustee Drapka,
President accounted for.
Trustee Hollenbach,
Present.
Supervisor Wilt.
Present.
Let the record note, Trustee Lupfer is not in attendance and Clerk Blau is.
Thank you very much. We have before us the minutes of the December 1st Committee of the Whole meeting. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting
I'll second it.
December 1st.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Trustee Clark, seconded by Trustee Heilenbach, to approve the minutes of the Riverside Township Committee of the Whole Board of Trustees meeting from December 1st. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. We next have the minutes of the December 8th Board of Trustees meeting. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the township meeting for December 8th, 2020.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Heilenbach, seconded by Trustee Clark, to approve the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting from December 8th. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. And then we have the minutes of the Committee of the Whole of Tuesday, January 5th. And what is your pleasure?
Motion to approve the minutes of Tuesday, January 5th.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Trustee Clark, seconded by Trustee Heilenbach, to approve the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from Tuesday, January 5th. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay. Next, we have communications. Clerk Blau, do we have anything?
Yes, we have several. We received a letter from Beds Plus thanking us for our grant award of $5,000 on November 18th. And they said thank you for your partnership and happy holidays. We received a card from Natasha Pelka in Brookfield, Illinois. She said, "Dear Riverside Township and Mr. Hollenbach especially, for delivering masks to our front door. It's times like this that it's greatly appreciated, this kind gesture of care and concern."
Very good.
We also received a note from Mary Sordell to the supervisor and the board. Please use the enclosed check for needy people in memory of my husband, Henry Sordell Jr. She gave us a $100 check.
That went to the
And
food
we
pantry.
received a letter of thanks from Nicole from the North Riverside Recreation Center. We bought them a projector and a movie screen. And that concludes the communications this evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, are there any public comments? Assessor Sitkowitz?
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Fran Sitkowitz, and I'm here as my role as Township Assessor. So we're off to a busy start for the new year. The Assessor's Office has determined that seniors receiving the senior freeze and people on disabled homeowner exemptions no longer have, or for this year, do not have to renew those applications in a paper appeal. They're automatically renewing those exemptions because of COVID for this year. So normally our seniors have received those applications by now, so they're getting a little nervous. So we started calling them all to tell them not to worry and to let them know what's going on. I know the assessor's office is planning on getting out some communication about that by the beginning of February, too. So, so right now we've been calling our seniors, and we also have received decisions from the Board of Review Appeals for 2020, and so that's going to move us right into the assessor appeals. Usually we have a little bit more time in between these two, but there were some delays at the Board of Review, so it's just going to be a busy couple months. We will be, communicating with our people in the township through our usual ways, constant contact. I'll put some information in the paper, also information on the website as we get more information about those specific dates from the assessor's office. And I know I will be working on my budget. I'll have it for you by around the 25th. And that's what's going on at the assessor's office. Any questions?
When are tax bills going out?
Tax bills will go out by January 30th.
Okay.
The first installments are posted on the Cook County Treasurer's Office website right now, though.
And are they due March 1st?
Yes, they're due March 1st. Anything else?
Any questions?
Thank you for the preserves.
You're
They're left in our mailboxes.
You're welcome. Okay,
Thank you very much for the report. Okay, Supervisors Report, just a update of what's going on. The holidays brought in a lot of generous gifts of food and money for the food pantry. Neighborhoods, villages, organizations had food drives, and several times we needed to have multiple carts activated to bring in all the shelf-stable goods that were donated. As you can see in our revenues and expenditures statement, December alone brought in almost $1,700 in monetary gifts, and since then we have received another 450, possibly more as of today. Fiscal year to date, we have had 110% more than I had budgeted in income for the food pantry based on previous years. So thank you very much to the whole community. That has made it possible for us to continue to also provide $15 in gift cards outside of the farmers market season. Of course, the need has also gone up. We had 42 food recipients in December, and with some having received them in the few days after Thanksgiving, we gave out a total of 47 Christmas food gift cards. That was a little higher, and that's more than we've ever distributed of Christmas dinners. The past month has also brought more inquiries about assistance. Currently, I have 9 active general assistance recipients, almost twice the average, and some applications are out pending return. The process looks very different than it did a year ago when I always met with applicants at some length in person, with them often filling out the forms on site. For everyone's safety now, it is mostly done with a preliminary interview with applicants conducted on the phone. I provide the forms either via email if they have the capacity to print them, or they pick them up in an envelope, and then they return the completed forms, and I copy any supporting documents while they wait in the hallway. Communication with clients then occurs mostly by phone and by email, and even text as they submit regular job search information or other information as that is applicable. Sometimes I have mailed their checks after the monthly remote interview, or else they pick them up. Since some people have also a need for food on the day of their regular general assistance and may not have transportation to get there and haul 2 heavy bags of food, I've even dropped off occasionally. On tonight's agenda is my formal report to you that I have increased the limit on the amount for emergency assistance because to solve a health and welfare issue usually exceeds the former cap. I hope this new maximum can hold for a while, but we're fortunate to have the funds to help. By the time people come to me, the utility bills threatening shut-off or the rents in arrears bringing a 5-day notice are substantial. I can only grant emergency assistance if the funds they have, combined with the assistance available, can solve the problem. Number of people coming for notary services has also increased, as other places like libraries that normally provided the service still remain closed or have limited hours when the public can enter. Election petitions also brought more clients for that. We removed the conference table and the chairs from room 3, where we had the damage after the freezer incident, in preparation for painting the room and the replacement of flooring. I am open to flooring other than carpeting or carpet tile. Now that the room is used for the CRC, the Community Resource Center office, and we keep carts with food pantry bags ready for pickup in there, we rarely have meetings in room 3, and the traffic is very different in there. I've reached out for estimates to several local firms and should have some estimates later this week on flooring. The conference table is in room 22 across the hall from here on the second floor, and that table sure seems smaller in a larger room than it was in room 3. The chairs that surrounded the table, as well as several of the antique chairs up here in the hallway outside the auditorium, are solid, but the upholstery is not responding to cleaning, so I'm going to investigate the cost of reupholstering all of them. The price and quality of new chairs would most likely make it worth the investment. By law, the supervisor may appoint a township attorney with the advice and consent of the township board. To that end, I want to thank the board members who participated in interviews with 2 law firms at the committee of the whole meeting last week after we had received submissions from about 8 firms. The board discussed the respective strengths of the firms we met with and selected Odelson, Stirk, Murphy, Frazier, and McFrath as our new law firm on an hourly basis unless otherwise agreed for specific projects, and I will move for that action later on the agenda. We can now begin bridge and building projects because I did not feel comfortable doing so without a dependable legal counsel. Per our discussions in the committee of the whole meeting, we can award the bridge project to API in terms of management of the project, whose proposal was significantly less expensive than Wist-Janney, which we also reviewed at the committee of the whole. Earlier today, I received an email regarding the grant application that we made for the COVID-19 funding through Cook County from the CARES Act. Their message is that although 84% of the funding designated for suburban municipalities has been distributed, our application is still being reviewed for eligibility and compliance, as are approximately 200 of the 426 applications. I've responded to all questions and will continue to await their decision. Since our December board meeting, I have protested a fraudulent IDES unemployment application, and we received their determination yesterday that it was indeed fraudulent, and all benefits associated with the claim have been stopped. They had already issued a debit card on the claim very quickly, even though I reported the fraud immediately upon the notification of the application. So that, if you have any other questions on anything else that's going on that I might have missed, I'm open to those questions. Okay, then trustees. Trustee Lupford, do you have any report?
Yes, I do apologize for being late. I do have some comments on the minutes. Can we revisit that?
That was why when we offer minutes,
I understand that. I'm just asking that Trustee Lupford noted that he reached out to identify. I'd just like to correct what I said. I'd ask the courtesy of the supervisor.
all right, what I'm saying is that when I open it for, are there any additions or corrections, that would have been the time to do so.
All right.
Go ahead, what is it that you wanted to correct?
First, which minutes is it in? 'Cause
Yeah,
we
which-
In the
approved
board
3.
meeting of
Okay,
The which one?
the board meeting,
December 8th board meeting.
okay? December 8th full board meeting, the regular board meeting, December 8th.
Unfinished business, B, adopt township tax levy. There are 2 changes, I'd say, in the second sentence after Lupfer expressed the opinion to cut taxes by 10%. It was explained that there were several reasons given. I know it's grammatical, but we were given reasons why we couldn't cut the taxes, but I just don't think they were sufficient to be a declaration. I'd like them to be given. As well as the sentence, the reasons noted above make it not feasible to reduce the tax levy. I think that's editorial. I think we can find 10% in the budget, so I'd move to strike that sentence.
Excuse me, Trustee Lupfer?
I can't hear you.
I can't hear you either. I'm very hard of hearing.
Could you put that in writing, what you would like to get submitted to me?
Sure.
Thank you.
And then under trustee reports, Trustee Lufford noted that he reached out to the schools, and it says to identify families that have need. We were just reaching out to the schools to let them know of the services and resources of the township. So I would just strike to identify families that have need. We weren't looking for families, we were just.
Okay,
looking
so
for families.
again, if you would submit that in writing, since this room doesn't facilitate hearing terribly well. All right, thank you.
So how do we handle that, since we already approved and he wants to make changes?
Who made the motion to,
Amend the meeting.
yeah, who made the motion to approve the minutes previously?
The ones
At the
from
next
the 8
meeting.
were, motion was by Hollenbach, second was by Clark.
Okay, would the mover allow the corrections that trustee Lupfer wasn't present to make previously?
Sure, we'll amend them. I'll amend that.
So you move to amend,
I move to amend it.
amend the minutes?
And then I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to amend the approval to include the corrections made by trustee Lupfer to the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay,
All right, trustees' reports. We had been working on the mental health crisis team and the traumatic event response. Since our last meeting, the mental health board has really stepped up and taken ownership of that. We are starting to provide training for it's not quite training, it's just information for the Mental Health Resource Center. Is that correct, Trustee Hollenbach? Correct name?
Community resource.
Community Resource Center is going to be working with the police departments. A lot of this can be covered by Trustee Hollenbach, but I'm just pleased to note that the proper governmental agency is stepping up and will make sure that this happens. It really does have its home in the Mental Health Board, and I'm glad to see that's happening. On a side note, to really make sure on the other end of things that will happen, Pillars Community Health is hiring a director of crisis, so that will really feed right in to this initiative. The police chiefs that I've talked to are really excited about it, and it feels like there's a lot of momentum behind it now, so that's a good report.
thank you. Trustee Heilenbach?
I have no report. The mental health board didn't meet in December.
Thank you very much. Trustee Drapka?
No report.
Trustee Clark?
The seniors, every event with the seniors is still on hold due to COVID. The filming of the exercise classes is also on hold till we get permission from the village to film those. And then on Friday, I went to Springfield and attended a board meeting for the State Board of Trustees. And really the major item out of that meeting was that they are going to charge dues for 2021. So the dues notice will come out at the end of January.
Okay. Thank you very much. And no
Oh,
mental...
Can I say one more thing? There have been some inquiries about when we were going to start the senior exercise class up again. And I don't know if you've gotten them in the office. The exercise instructor has gotten many texts, and, you know, we just tell them we're on hold.
Yeah.
You know.
So the videos that were previously made are available.
Right.
YouTube, and, you know, through the link, we have information on how to find it on our website. So I would say refer folks, and, you know, dust one off that you haven't looked at for a while so that you don't feel like it's stale. But that's the best that we can do for now.
And I just, you know, said, we're on hold, till
I know.
we see how everything works
The
out.
whole world is on hold, unfortunately.
Right.
In so many ways. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so there's no mental health board meeting yet, and the next meeting is next week, Wednesday, correct?
That is correct.
Well, I did have a question about mental health board. Trustee Lumpfer said that the mental health board has really stepped up this past month. So I was wondering, I would always imagine that the mental health board is always doing wonderful things, so
We've been involved
how
with
have
this
you
project
stepped up?
for a long time,
Right.
and that's all I can give a report on. We've been involved in it for a long time.
Thank you. All right, on to unfinished business. As I mentioned previously, we have discussed this, and I would like to now announce the appointment of a new law firm, and it would be Odelson. I want to make sure that I get everybody's name in here, sorry. So I would like to appoint Odelson, Stirk, Murphy, Frazier, and McFrath as our new law firm to be engaged on an hourly basis based on the solicitation of proposals and interviews with our select groups of law firms. And I would make that in the form of a motion and just ask for a second to that motion.
So moved. But
Okay,
don't one of us have to make the motion?
I'm sorry?
Don't one of us have to make the motion?
Well, I vote just like everyone else. If you would like to make that motion and second it, just for clarity, as I said earlier, the supervisor is allowed to
Oh,
make this
okay.
appointment with the advice and counsel of the board, but you're most welcome to make that motion.
So should my motion say we are approving your appointment, or?
That would be acceptable.
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve Vera's appointment of the new township board.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Drapka, to approve the appointment of Olson, Stirk, Murphy, Frazier, and McFrath as our new law firm. And I know that usually it's Odelson, Stirk, but I don't want to leave anybody out. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Or actually, this is a financial, so Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll on this?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes,
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Okay, and we also had two proposals for the architectural and engineering services for the pedestrian bridge to supervise the project of the structural coating and repairs. That would include project overview, pre-design and site analysis, schematic design, design development, construction documents, permitting, bidding, negotiation, construction administration, and so forth, all the things that we would need expertise in to oversee the project of the painting and repairs to the pedestrian bridge. And for that, as I said, we had two proposals. That of API Architects was by far the more reasonable, and we have used them for a previous project when we did the elevator replacement, so we know their work ethic. So I would welcome a motion to approve them as the engineering and architectural services supervisor of this project.
I'll make a motion that we approve API Architects for the Swinging Bridge project as a management firm.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
And a second to approve API as the managers of the bridge project. And if Clerk Blau would please call the roll. If there's any discussion?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes.
How many bids do you need to make it considered a competitive bidding situation? We haven't had a lawyer for 3 years, so I've got a lot of questions. So 2 or more. All right. But if it, so it has to go out, there has to be an RFP kind of thing? All right. Right. I think ours is 20,000. Is that correct, Supervisor Wilt?
Yeah, and actually, the total on this one comes to $7,600 was their proposal, so. Right, right. We actually invited additional bids because we had a quote from those who had inspected the bridge and proposed what needed to be done, and their proposal was over the $25,000. It was over 20 and well over 25,000, so we felt we needed another bid, and that's when we invited more. Thank you. Then,
One last thing I have.
yes,
They say it's the approach to avoid additional services beyond the base agreement. Are we going to put a limit on the overages allowed? I would like to request that we put a limit on the overages allowed.
okay. In having done the calculations, they would have to put in something like, God, I had it at the tip of my tongue before, but it would have been more than the original proposal in order for these amounts to kick in. I mean, their hourly rates were so much more reasonable, but what did you propose as a limit?
We normally do plus or minus 10%, right?
Okay. We can do that.
I don't mind 20.
If anything were to come up, then I would come back to the board.
Right. And at these dollar amounts, I could even do 20. I mean, 700, 1,000 isn't going to kill us. But I just like there to be a tripwire for,
Okay.
oh, hey, we're over, let's reevaluate it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Would the movers and second be amenable to putting in that limitation of a 10% limit in excess?
I have no problem with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, you would come back to the board anyway
Yes.
if it
Yeah.
was over anyway.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, if we can put it in there, I guess it's not going to
10%
hurt.
plus or minus?
Yes.
Trustee Halifax?
Plus or minus 10%. Mainly plus.
Plus.
I'll certainly have our law firm look over this before I sign it, too. All right. Anything else? Any other discussion? Then Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Halifax?
Yes,
Trustee Luckfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Town Hall building repairs, I don't have anything additional right now. I'd like to take one project at a time, but I'll keep this on the agendas until further notice. We've spoken at the Committee of the Whole about prioritizing the most needed projects, and we also will need to meet with the village because there's some overlap or defined divisions between the building's responsibilities. So I just wanted to keep that under unfinished business and not forget about it. Okay, township communication policy. This would encompass more than, of course, just the website right now. We are updating website things on our own, and we have quoted rates if we need the intervention of our vendor. But I think that we'll want to have a discussion about what we want to do going forward. So my proposal would be that for our next Committee of the Whole, that we put the communications on the agenda and discuss again, the parameters like we did before. What is it that our priorities are in going forward?
And you already received something from me on that, correct?
Yes,
So
yes, I
that-
have.
We don't have to resubmit any suggestions?
No, I don't think we have to resubmit that. I will, for the meeting, I will have that proposal ready. And if anybody else has any proposals, I have a name from you as well. And we'll take a look at what kind of vendors are out there, because I think, our website, other than issues every now and then, is relatively serviceable for us now, so we need to see what it is we want to go forward with. Okay?
Did Andrew get the training on how to update it?
Yes, he got all the videos, he learned, and so he's been putting that in. We had an unrelated glitch recently. Last week, one day, all the photos disappeared off of our website. And apparently, it was an update for the actual base software. And so we did have to get some intervention, and, it's like, what's going on? But it's fixed now, it's running again. We also had them, because throughout December, we still were prepaid with them, so we had them clean up and archive certain things so that they weren't on the front page when they're dated news and so forth.
Great. And is our next shredding event on there?
Not yet. I thought it was premature, but we'll be putting it on this month, because we've got that coming up in just about 2 months, so.
I just have a question. How difficult has he found that? Is the learning curve pretty shallow? I mean, once you get it?
So the posting things is not terribly complicated. It's if you get into anything else. Excuse me. Yes? Do you need something? The door's locked?
Keep talking, Supervisor.
Anyway, so the room 4. Oh, you got it? Okay. So, I'm sorry. In terms of posting things, it's not been too hard, but I think that there's some other issues, like the archiving of things. He didn't have all of that information yet, but, it was very similar to how we posted under our old website, so he wasn't
Once you get it,
terribly
you can figure it
challenged.
out. Is
Pardon?
that correct?
We-
Once you get it, I mean, you can kind of muddle through.
Right, and, Andrew's of an age and of a technical skill, so that works.
Those whippersnappers.
Yes, indeed. All right, and that's about it. Any other questions? All right, we'll put that on the next committee of the whole agenda. Okay, next, under new business, we have some terms that expired as of the end of the year, and there has not been a mental health board meeting, but I would simply like to reappoint 2 people who are on there. That would be Timothy Heilenbach as a member of the Riverside Township Mental Health Board for a term commencing the first of this year and terminating on December 31st, 2024. And also to reappoint Les Mcdonald, who has been the Secretary-Treasurer, as a member of the Mental Health Board for a term commencing January 1st, 2021, and terminating on December 31st, 2024. Les, in particular, isn't quite sure that, the full term is what he wants to do. However, right now, we have a new Secretary-Treasurer who, in the meantime, contracted COVID and wasn't able to serve fully, so he wants to make sure that the transition works. So, but he has already told me, probably won't serve the full 4 years, but most happy to accept that. So if I can have a motion, this would be for the resolutions to reappoint those 2, Timothy Heilenbach and Les McDonald.
You want them both together, then? We can do this in one motion?
They're the same terms. I think that we can do that in one motion.
I make the motion that we approve the appointment of Timothy Heilenbach and Les McDonald to the Mental Health Board, commencing on January 1st, 2021, and terminating on December 31st, 2024.
I second that.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Drapka, to approve the appointment to the Mental Health Board of Timothy W. Heilenbach and Les Mcdonald for terms running from January 1, 2021 until December 31, 2024. Are there any additions, are there any questions?
I have some questions.
Yes.
There's been a lot of questions come up lately about the mental health board, the relationship with the township. We have a consultant. Is this the proper time for me to ask these questions? I'm wondering, it came up at our last board meeting that the consultant was a board member? And then
He used to be a board member.
how long was it between he was a board member and he became our consultant?
He left the board to take the, he applied for the consulting position while he was still a member of the board. But can we, it sounds like there's some questions about it. I don't know that they're
Well, it gets to the
pertinent
point of why, I mean, at this point, how long has the consultant been there?
He's been there a year and a half now.
Year and a half. So my question is, why does the mental health board continue to need a consultant? It sounds like it's more like an advisor, and I think that speaks to needing more expertise in the mental health field on the mental health board. A consultant, I've been a consultant, I've hired consultants, you come in, you analyze the organization, you make your recommendations, come back 6 months later, see how they're doing. I think at this point, keeping a consultant on board speaks to a lack of mental health experience on the board. So I'd like to ask both people what their experience in the mental health world is, if there's any pertinent experience. The last person we appointed had a lot of experience. It was a great nomination, and I agreed with it wholeheartedly, but I would like to see a little bit more professional experience, not necessarily a psychiatrist, but someone who has that experience that doesn't need to rely on an advisor for a year and a half. How much is he getting paid? I mean, was that a competitive bid situation? Is it normal to have a board member transition off immediately into a paid position from that board? I'm concerned about what happened there, and I'd like to ask Trustee Heilenbach and board member Les Mcdonald what happened there, and specifically what is their experience that qualifies them to serve on this board, aside from having previously served on it.
So I would ask trustee Heilenbach to explain the role of the consultant and how that was selected.
He was selected because he was one of two people that applied for our job. Our other consultant left us to move back to California. The consultant's job is to represent the Township Mental Health Board at meetings, and help us navigate through legislation and be there for the legislation of things that go on with different committees in Springfield and government. We've had a consultant since the inception of the Mental Health Board. Joe is very qualified. He is the Director of Public Health in Will County. He is also an instructor for the Crisis Intervention Team for the Chicago Police Department. He is also an auxiliary superintendent for the Berwyn Police Department. He has several degrees. He was more than qualified. He was the most qualified person we had when we did the interview process. We will keep a consultant on the board for just those reasons. He also helps us navigate through mental health problems that are out there. You've seen his reports. It shows quite a bit of information, and he is paid less than our other consultant was paid. So money is not an issue there. It's not that much. I believe it's a little over $11,000. As far as experience, I was asked to join the Mental Health Board 7 years ago. I talked to Supervisor Tusher at that time. I told him what I knew about the Mental Health Board, that I was interested in the Mental Health Board because I do have some relatives of mine that have had mental health issues. one of which was severe enough to be hospitalized. So I do have some knowledge of it. I also have emergency medical training. I know about that stuff, and it was what I was interested in. So I've been on the board for 7 years. In 7 years, we have taken that mental health board from just core agencies to a number of different projects, and we will continue to move those projects. I've served as the vice president, the president of the board, and now I'm the liaison from the township. As far as Les Mcdonald, he's been a board member since, I think about 20 years. Les is instrumental. He's been our treasurer. He is very interested in autism. He follows autism very closely. Les has done a great job on our board, and I fully recommend it.
If I might also explain that the nature of a 708 board, which is the law that this is based on, is that it's a citizens board. It is not supposed to be a board of psychologists and mental health professionals. It is supposed to be an at-large citizens type of board with the consulting of experts in the field.
Is it normal for a mental health board to have a consultant? Is it usual? Right. Is it usual to have a consultant as a mental health board? All right, so it's. Right. Well,
I call for the vote.
I do have a couple more questions.
Call for the vote prioritizes other. Yeah, I mean, is it pertinent
Look,
to
it's
these
fine.
appointments?
It's fine.
No,
I would say we appoint the doctor back on the board. I'd say we put a public call out for people who might be interested. It's been a long time since there's been turnover on that board. I feel it's.
No, well, actually.
I have a question about, it's in the minutes, where it says the mental health board sets their own budget and tax levy, and the township has nothing to do with, or does not change that. What the relationship is there between the township and the board? I've been told that it's a separate taxing body, it has its own charter, and there's nothing to do, but it's in my budget. I'm appointing the board members, we get the meetings every day. So what is the role of a trustee? Why do we keep seeing all this stuff from the mental health board if we have nothing to do with it?
Yes, correct. These mental health boards are formed by the appointment, by referendum and by appointment then of the township. The township appoints the members of the board. Each time there's a vacancy, I solicit suggestions. I have reached out to board members to suggest people that you think might be interested in it. In the 3.5 years I've been in office, I've appointed three new people to that board. So I wouldn't say that it's stagnant by any means. It's a, how many member board? 9 altogether?
9 total.
Right, 9 total members. And so, we've appointed other people, and in most cases, you first have to find people who are interested in doing so. We've had candidates that then said, never mind, I don't want to do that. And I always try to interview those people, and then I present them for nomination, as we did today.
The last
They are
question.
also interviewed by Supervisor Wilt, myself, and maybe another board member, maybe the
Often
consultant.
or sometimes the chairman of the mental health board.
Or
when it's not.
the chairman.
Right.
So it's not that these people are just brought in. As far as Les is concerned, like I said, Les is a real asset to our board. And again, these are volunteers. These are residents that are interested in it, that are good at it. I don't think that after 4 years or 3 years or whatever their appointment is that you say, all right, that's enough for you. Go on. We're done with you. These people have put in the time and the effort, and now they see some things that are really going in the right direction with the Mental Health Board, and they want to stick around because they want to see more things happen. And that's what the Mental Health Board is going to strive to do.
Okay.
All right, so the last one is the charter. Certain mental health boards consider homelessness a mental health issue, others don't. Why does our mental health board not consider homelessness to be a mental health issue and under their purview?
As I've explained to you before and to this board, that homelessness as one thing is not considered a mental health issue.
I understand.
But again, let me finish. Homelessness is 99% combined with a different issue, whether it be a mental illness, alcoholism, drug abuse, post-traumatic stress disorder. Then it becomes a mental health issue. Homelessness as one is
In and of itself?
in and of itself is not a mental health board issue.
I understand our mental health board doesn't think that, but others do.
Well,
So
I mean, I can't help, I just go by what we do. We follow the 708 mental health boards.
So-
And that's what it is.
For Timothy Heilenbach and Les Mcdonald, do they think that mental health is, or homelessness is a mental health issue, or do they think it's not? I'm interviewing the people before we appoint them. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to put up with it.
Well, I have a question for Trustee Lumfer. How many mental health boards
Questions on the
meetings
table.
have you gone to?
You know what, Trustee Drapka, let me answer
Yeah.
that. We will follow the 708 board guidelines. That's my answer. And so will Les McDonald.
Well, that's not very forthcoming. I'd like
Well,
your opinion.
you've got my answer.
I don't
This is-
think,
This is not an interview
Yeah, it's
for
not
the
an interview.
position.
Actually,
So-
it's an
I need to
insult.
answer these questions in order to make an intelligent vote. I'm sorry.
How
But
many,
I don't
how many,
think
how many
Trustee
mental health
Heilenbach
board
can
meetings have you
One at a
gone to?
time.
for-
One at a time, please.
I don't think, with all due respect, Trustee Heidenbach, I don't think you can answer for Les McDonald, but I can say that I know Les personally, and he is a dynamite member of this community and of this board. And I also would like to really thank the Mental Health Board for all the work they do, and we're very lucky in Riverside Township to have the Mental Health Board that we have.
Thank you.
And I'd
Trustee
still
Drapka?
like to know how many mental health board meetings that you've attended.
Well, I get the minutes all the time. I get their budget
No,
all
I'd
the
like to
time.
know how many meetings you've attended because you could see all these people in person and talk to them one-on-one whenever you want to. How many meetings have you
I
attended?
haven't attended any meetings, Mike. They're right here. They have actually pretty good minutes, so we approve their budgets. I've answered your question now. Can we call the vote?
Would love to, thank you. Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Hold it. Do we
Trustee
have
Clark?
We have a motion, we had a
Motion,
motion
and
and a
We had a
second.
motion and a second while you were out of the room.
We have a motion by Trustee Clark, a second by Trustee Drapka.
Are we going to do this separately or both as a
Together.
whole?
Together.
I would like to do them together as a whole. They're the same term.
Okay, it's fine with me.
Would you rather do it separately?
I would.
Well, then I rescind my motion.
I do too.
And I make the motion that we approve the appointment of Timothy Heilenbach as a member of the Riverside Township Mental Health Board for a term commencing on January 1st, 2021, and terminating on December 31st, 2024.
I second.
I have a motion by Trustee Clark, seconded by Trustee Drapka, to appoint Timothy Heilenbach to a term on the Mental Health Board of Riverside Township for the term of January 1, 2021 through December 31, 2024. Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Drapka.
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach,
Abstain?
Trustee Lupfer,
No.
Supervisor Wilt,
Yes,
motion is carried.
thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion for Les McDonald.
I make a motion that this board approves the appointment of Les McDonald as a member of the Riverside Township Mental Health Board for a term commencing on January 1st, 2021, and terminating on December 31st, 2024.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Drapka, to appoint Les McDonald as a member of the Riverside Township Mental Health Board for a term commencing on January 1, 2021, terminating on December 31, 2024. Clerk Blau, please call the roll.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Drapka,
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach,
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer,
Without him being here, I can't make a informed vote, so I abstain.
Supervisor Wilt,
Yes.
motion is carried.
Thank you. Okay, we have a request from the Lions Club. Let me preface this by explaining also, besides this problem that they were not able to hold any fundraisers this year, the money that we donated last year in anticipation of a chicken dinner had not been cashed, and then somebody apparently found their checks for all those donations for the placemats, and the check hit our account last week, was paid, and then reversed because the bank realized it was a stale-dated check. So they haven't received anything as of this moment, and probably have a fee for 2020 and 2021. So you all have a copy of the letter in your folders, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. And so their request this year, because they were unable to do any of that fundraising, was for any donations that we can contribute. And it's open for discussion.
So Supervisor, well, I'd like to see them use our grant process and ask for something specific and ask for a specific dollar amount rather than a blanket letter that we received. And I'll put that into a motion that we go ahead and suggest that they apply for a grant for some specific dollar amount and a specific purpose.
And that was a motion. I have a motion by trustee Drapka to ask the Lions Club to submit a grant application for a specific amount for specific purposes through our regular process, and the next grant period is next month, so that's a timely thing.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by trustee Drapka, seconded by trustee Heilenbach, to ask them to apply for a grant. Any discussion?
I couldn't hear earlier. You said that their last grant check took a while. I mean, we're not going to take that back, are we? We just,
Well, they presented a stale check, so we never lost that money. We never paid that money in effect because the check was returned, and I don't even know if they realize it yet because they're all volunteers, but,
we can make sure they get those funds, right?
well,
Taking it back.
I mean, that would be a separate question as to whether we replace those funds that they didn't get from last year. Right now, we've been asked, instead of giving them a grant this year, since they need the support, that they apply. So that would be the only question right now, would be that we ask them to apply for a grant.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Then, just to keep things orderly, Clerk Blau, would you call the roll on this motion?
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Drapka,
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach,
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer,
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt,
Yes.
motion is carried.
And now, if you would like to, under that same topic of the money, if you want to make some kind of a suggestion to this board, since they did not get the money that we granted
Yeah, I
last year.
move we honor the grant from last year? And what would the wording on that be?
So what we did was, I believe it was a $100 placement for their placemat ads last year. So it was a $100 contribution that they never cleared. It was actually in the prior budget year that
So I move
that it
that
was
we
issued.
give them the $100 to use as they see fit.
Was it 100 or 150?
I think each square is, I believe it was $100, but
Okay,
I
that's
can
right, but-
double check. It could have even been 200, because we take a double ad and they do it on
Yeah, we
both of
do a
them.
double
So I
ad.
believe it may be 200, actually.
200.
Amend my motion.
I'd have to check what the bank rejected.
But-
So your motion would be to replace whatever it was that we granted?
But it wasn't a grant, it was a donation
Right,
for,
but to replace that money
to
that
replace
they're
the
out now?
money for the ads on the, that we gave them for the placements on the chicken dinner.
Okay, so the motion is that we replace the money that we paid them for their event, for their fundraiser last year that was not cleared for them. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
I have a motion by trustee Lupfer, seconded by trustee Clark, to replace the money that was awarded to the Lions Club last year for their chicken dinner fundraiser that they did not actually receive the funds from. Any discussion? Then, Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Next is, you have the notice from me. The supervisor is the administrator of general and emergency assistance, and general assistance. The limits are set by the supervisor, however, they are formally announced to the board by law. And so this is my notice to you that I am increasing the limit for general, the emergency fund for emergency assistance to residents within the township from $1,500 to $2,000 per occurrence, and that those are funds that are only available to somebody once in any 12-month period. They must reapply, and so this is just a statement to this board of my policy. All right, and then the next item is, by preliminary discussion, I simply mean, here's what we did last year, take a look at it, and perhaps we should set a date for preliminary budget meetings.
Can we do that in committee of the whole?
We could. We can put that as one of the other topics for the committee of the whole.
I'd
Set
prefer
the
we,
date or discuss the budget.
yeah,
I'm
I'd
sorry?
prefer we discuss the budget in a board meeting, not a committee of the whole. I think that's information the public deserves.
Those are also open meetings.
Yeah.
Committee of the whole is open as well.
I'm just stating my preference.
Okay.
I do
So-
have one question on this while we have the lawyer in front of us, and that's the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. What are the qualifications to participate in that? Is there a certain threshold that we have to meet to be participating in the retirement fund? Yeah. So me as a trustee, do I have to work a certain amount of hours? Is there,
So I can probably address that. The Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund requires a board to set its policy to define. The governmental entity must define who is qualified for it. And by that, they expect a certain number of hours, and basically when a board says, yes, its trustees are eligible to participate in our fund, then we are stating that there's the requisite number of hours. I believe the minimum is 500 hours per year, and that was, this board set that policy back in late 2017 or early 2018 when we were asked for such a resolution from this board.
500 hours. Can you please remove me from the IMRF?
There's a process to do that. We can get you the forms. Yeah, I'll get you the paperwork for it.
Right. So it's 500 hours for all.
I believe it's 500 hours. I'd have to check our resolution book to make sure what that was. I didn't know the question was going to come up.
Is that for trustee, clerk, assessor?
So we also defined who was eligible for it. So previously, the supervisor was eligible. Of course, all the employees were eligible. The assessor was eligible. And the clerk was, were you able to participate before this term? No, I don't think the clerk, I know when I served as clerk, that was not so defined. But this board did set the definition as including trustees and the clerk
Right.
last time,
So that's like 10 hours a week,
roughly.
12 if it's
Right.
600?
Right. And, that was, you have to know what you put in on township business.
So for a trustee to be able to participate, they need to put in 500 hours a year to participate in the IMRF.
That is the expectation. That is what the board had stated was that they
And the clerk's
qualified.
the same,
I'm sorry?
and the clerk is still the same as 500 hours?
Yes, I believe for anyone to participate, it has to be 500 hours. So part-timers can participate if they work at least 500 hours, part-time employees. So that's how that works.
All right.
Okay?
Getting back to the Committee of the Whole, so we'll be meeting on February 2nd for the Committee of the Whole,
That is our scheduled
first
Date.
Tuesday of the month.
first Tuesday, yep. So, yes, February 2nd would be our Committee of the Whole at 6:30. And so we have two topics. It would be the communication policy and the budget, just the earliest discussion of that, okay?
Supervisor Report, I'm sorry, I didn't have
I'm sorry?
the first subject you said.
Oh, the Township communication policy, item D, under unfinished business.
Thank you.
Yes. And item D of new business. All right, then that will be our preliminary discussion, and we'll have to consider all the things that have changed in the last year.
I have one more on the budget, because we can't cut 10%, correct? There's a lot of payroll in here. The rules are that we set the pay for the next board, correct? We've already done that.
That's already been done.
Is that correct?
For the board to be elected in April, 6 months out, we already set we set that.
Are we able to reduce the amount as well? We've already set the pay scale for the incoming board, but in light of the fact that the trustees and the clerk don't meet the threshold to be in the IMRF, I'd like to go ahead and try to eliminate the pay for the trustees and the clerk. What's the process for doing that? Is it just get it on the agenda? Is it still legal to do?
It's set by ordinance, and the ordinance must be approved 6 months out from the elections.
But is that to raise it only?
That's
or
to set
lower?
the salary. That is to set the salary.
I'd like you to get back to us on that, please. Right.
Okay.
Please, that would be great.
Okay. Then can we move on with agenda items? The next item is the approval of warrants.
Trustee Heilenbach moves that the board authorize and ratify payment of the bills identified on the general warrant for January 2021 in the amount of $9,414.96 as presented to the board on this 12th day of January 2021.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by trustee Heilenbach, seconded by trustee Clark, to approve the general warrant of January 2021 in the amount of $9,414.96. Any discussion? Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Motion by trustee Heilenbach that the board ratify and authorize payment of the amount indicated on the following warrants. The utility warrant for January 2021 in the amount of $2,085.74. The payroll warrant in the amount of $21,928.26. The health warrant in the amount of $1,017.85. Grants for January 2021 in the amount of $9,355.20. General assistant warrant in the amount of $6,977.44. Township radio players warrant in the amount of $281.95. Food pantry warrant in the amount of $1,088.16. All of the above as presented to the board this 12th day of January 2021.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, but I have a discussion question.
Yes.
I have on my sheet that the food pantry is 400 and.
You should have had a new sheet that
Oh, I have a
might have
new
been in your
sheet?
mailbox
All right.
with amendments. There were some purchases made within the last
All
24,
right, I
48
got it.
hours.
Okay, second,
Second? Okay.
that's what,
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Heilenbach, seconded by trustee Clark for the following, to approve the following warrants. Utility warrant, the amount of $2,085.74. Payroll warrant in the amount of $21,928.26. Health warrant in the amount of $1,017.85. Grants warrant in the amount of $9,355.20. General assistance warrant in the amount of $6,977.44. Township radio players warrant in the amount of $281.95. Food pantry warrant in the amount of $1,088.16. Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn this beautiful meeting.
Second,
I have a motion by trustee Drapka, seconded by trustee Clark, to adjourn this meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you.